Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to view my presentation. Today I'm going to be talking about improving employee conditions and public relations at Starbucks. As you may have heard, Starbucks has been faced with some intense scrutiny over the past couple of years. This has been in regards to employees um, and their low amounts of working hours available, the wages that are not being adjusted properly with the current inflation rate, and other things as well. So just a little bit of statistics here. Since the strike started in 2022, Starbucks has lost nearly $11 billion in market value and is continuing to see reduced revenue totals. This is store to store, and this is greatly affecting their financial status. The purpose of this report is to dive deeper into what the main roots are due to the backlash of the operations at Starbucks, as well as provide some potential solutions for these issues. Now, these potential solutions may be as suggestive only and may not actually see, um, reality. So, moving on here, as crazy it may seem, $11 billion in lost value did not hit the company that hard. And this is really only because Starbucks is a diverse market portfolio and they're very strong financially annually with bringing in revenue. And so if you look here to the left, on your lower left, this is the revenue column chart in billions of dollars, and this is yearly. So this was starting in 2022. Starbucks brought in a revenue of $33 billion dollars. And then in 2023, they had $36 billion dollars. And in 2024, they stuck right around 36 billion with 35 billion. So looking at this chart, it might not seem like anything is really happening as far as negative impacts on the financial stability of Starbucks. But economists predict that if Starbucks does not begin to comply with the union negotiations, they could lose as much as $4 million a day in sales and potentially face store closures nationwide. And then looking at the total revenue for 2025, if we were to add another bar here to this chart, if the striking continued for an additional 12 months, we they would essentially see only $20 billion in revenue, and I say only sarcastically, but this is a very steep drop off from years previous. So let's take a look here at why employees are striking. There are many different factors playing a part in the employee turmoil. The main reasons employees are fighting back is to change the staffing issues, low amounts of hours available to work. They're not able to request any time, adequate amounts of work per week. Inaccessible benefits for people in low income households, families with disabilities, um, and some other employee retirement packages. And wages that are being handed out to the baristas are inappropriate with the current inflation rate that we are facing in the United States currently. So Starbucks has been in contact with union workers to try and get some resolution talks in order. But according to Breck Dumas from Fox Business, Starbucks says pay hike demanded by union workers is not sustainable, which essentially is leaving tensions very high between corporate and its workers, and kind of leaving this whole situation in a standstill. Moving on here, another big reason why Starbucks has lost support from the public is due to its view on the Israel and Palestinian war. Now, the CEO, Brian Niccol, has publicly stated that the company's boycotts from the public and the unions are largely stemming from apparent false claims online that they openly support Israel. He also claims that these accusations are false and that these are only alleged, as well as the company enforcing that the company does not support any outside conflicts, that the company is focused on upholding its promises and living out its values. However, this was not only a issue for Starbucks employees. This also affected many citizens around the world, and college students at Howard University were seen in 2023 protesting outside of various Starbucks locations in the United States um, as a result of these rumors. So, after collecting some data from news sources and reporting that were reporting on site and gathering recent claims from the union workers, I formed a short survey, which was very concise, and I asked 10 current and former workers, both in and out of unions, what they thought about my suggestions for resolutions. Um, and it, and so before moving on to that, on the left here is the column of my questions. Very short, just yes or no um, answers, and most of them were very one-sided. Um, and again, just getting at both perspectives of people that were not involved in unions and maybe have not seen any worker strikes or protests, and people that are and have been familiar with this type of situation. Another interesting note to consider with this survey on the left is a lot of the nay responses are for the retired workers group. These could be anyone, these could be ages from 60 to 70 years old that were part of unions. So this immediately made me think that these people are a little bit biased on their old ways of how unions operated and may not be up to date with the current wage and equal opportunity laws enforced by the U.S. federal government. So, going off of that, I proposed four potential solutions, which could improve employee working conditions and public feedback on social issues. So one, I wanted to implement specialized managers specifically for employee feedback in relations. After doing some research, I found that Starbucks does not currently have a role for anyone at any store location, at least within the United States. So I think implementing this would be great for improving communications between employees and managers. And this leads me into my second point of this could be weekly meetings or bi-weekly, however they wanted to implement it. But this allows another benefit. This allows employees to have a dedicated time to talk one-on-one with the managers and discuss any shifts in schedule, um, when they're not able to work, as well as the wages that they are currently receiving, and making sure those are up to date and current with the inflation rate. As far as public feedback, I suggested that Starbucks just refrain totally from endorsing sensitive topics of discussion, particularly religiously or politically. This is the safest route to avoid any negative attention, and getting involved with any of these issues really does not benefit the company financially and all the other aspects. Um, and the last point that I brought up was ending the boycott um, due to the Israel affiliations. Again, these were in the previous slide that these were only alleged. And the CEO, I think, should come forth and just make a formal address stating that these accusations were false and that Starbucks does not associate with the war in Israel. Um, and hopefully, this can start to slow down the boycotts from the public and the employees, and the overall negative attention that Starbucks has been receiving over these past 3 years. So to conclude all this, I think that using these methods will greatly improve the employee and public relations. I think that Starbucks can gradually start to build back trust and satisfaction of the public, and maintain its reputable status. Starbucks has consistently been the world's leader in coffee chain sales. I mean, you go around any block and you can find one there, with lines out the door. So with all this publicity that they receive daily, I mean, they really cannot afford to let these issues go unacknowledged. And personally, I hope that within the near future, employees and their families will receive the deserved level of respect and compensation, as well as access to any employee benefits that include retirement or any beneficial packages for families of the employees. So I want to thank you guys again for being present and listening. I really appreciate it, and just another thanks for taking time out of your day to do this for me.